And for the first time, there was a new school of thought that was chemically induced that made people question the very society they lived in. By 1960, the President of the United States was only 42 years old. Can you imagine? DMX is older than that. And he was going to usher in a new era of peace. He was going to avoid the Cold War. He was going to end segregation. And they blew his brains out in front of everyone in Dallas. This country was never the same.
America has always been a paradox. A country that waves the banner of freedom yet silences dissent. That preaches unity yet profits from division. That contradiction is exactly why the news of Charlie Kirk's assassination didn't land like a simple tragedy. It ripped through the nation like a lightning strike. Kirk wasn't just another conservative commentator. He was a polarizing cultural warrior who built his career on confrontation. From college campuses to primetime cable shows, he thrived on outrage, often weaponizing cruelty to make a point. He mocked grieving parents of school shooting victims, dismissed systemic racism as a myth, and belittled protest movements with smugness that enraged his critics and energized his supporters. To his base, he was a fearless truth-teller battling liberal indoctrination. To his opponents, he was a bully who profited from dehumanizing others. So when his life ended violently, America didn't pause in collective grief. It fractured instantly. Supporters cried that this was proof conservatives were being hunted. Critics asked why a man who denied empathy to so many now deserved endless sympathy himself. That single question, who deserves compassion, would ignite a nationwide firestorm. Within minutes, the internet became a battlefield. Twitter feeds exploded with dueling narratives, TikTokers posted instant reaction videos, and Instagram flooded with screenshots of celebrity takes. Rapper 50 Cent added fuel with a now-deleted comment that bluntly read, "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." Even after he deleted it, the damage was done. The screenshots lived on, circulating like wildfire. Actress Amanda Seales doubled down, making it clear she wouldn't pretend to mourn someone who had spent years tearing people down. Meanwhile, Dr. Umar Johnson urged restraint, warning the black community that celebrating death publicly could be weaponized by mainstream media to reinforce dangerous stereotypes. The clash was visceral. On one side, those demanding empathy, even for enemies. On the other, those insisting that Kirk's own actions had stripped him of that privilege. Hashtags trended worldwide. Karma or tragedy, justice or hypocrisy, no tears for Charlie. On TikTok, duets of Kirk-mocking shooting survivors went viral as users captioned them with chilling irony. YouTube live streams erupted with heated debates, pulling in thousands of viewers dissecting whether this was an assassination, karma, or simply a tragedy. The internet wasn't just reacting, it was polarizing faster than ever before. Then came D.L. Hewley's intervention, and the narrative shifted. Hewley posted a scathing monologue, resurfacing clips where Kirk had dismissed grieving families of shooting victims as crisis actors and mocked survivors who spoke out. He asked the haunting question, if Charlie Kirk refused to grieve for others, why is the world expected to grieve for him? That sentiment hit like a hammer, echoing across platforms. Reaction channels dissected Hewley's take, podcasts dedicated entire episodes to debating it, and mainstream outlets replayed his words on loop. At the same time, conspiracy theories multiplied like wildfire. Some whispered that Kirk was targeted by political enemies inside his own camp, silenced because his controversies had become liabilities. Others claimed it was a deep state ploy designed to spark chaos ahead of an election year. This wasn't just about the crime anymore, it was about legacy, symbolism, and power. Was Kirk a martyr silenced for truth, or a victim of his own venom? Fox News painted him as a patriot assassinated for speaking boldly. Progressive commentators countered that he was finally facing the consequences of normalizing hate. Every side weaponized his death to serve their narrative, turning a man's end into political ammunition. The fallout was brutal, spilling from screens into the streets. Kirk's supporters unleashed torrents of rage, doxing critics like Amanda Seales and Hewley, sending threats and demanding federal investigations. Those who stayed silent weren't safe either. Silence itself became an accusation. Celebrities who avoided commenting had their comment sections flooded with demands to pick a side. Inside conservative circles, fractures began to show. Some treated Kirk as a martyr, holding candlelight vigils, draping flags, and calling for justice. Others privately admitted his reckless style had alienated too many and worried that his death would drag the movement into chaos. Meanwhile, his critics weaponized receipts. Old clips of Kirk mocking minorities, belittling women, and laughing during debates with grieving parents resurfaced daily, undermining efforts to sanitize his image. Protests and vigils clashed in public spaces. At one memorial, counter-protesters held signs reading "Karma" and "No Tears," sparking screaming matches that escalated into arrests. News outlets replayed these clashes in a loop, painting a picture of a nation tearing itself apart over a single man. His death wasn't just a headline. It became a cultural earthquake, exposing America's deepest fault lines in raw daylight. By the end of the week, the assassination had grown into something bigger than Charlie Kirk himself. Pastors warned against celebrating death from the pulpit, while cultural critics declared America was spiraling into an empathy crisis, a society where compassion itself had become partisan. Some argued that the assassin's true victory wasn't killing Kirk, but forcing America to confront its own inability to unify, even in tragedy. Others claimed this was simply the natural conclusion of Kirk's own methods. He built his brand on outrage, division, and cruelty. And in the end, he drowned in the very storm he created. Analysts on CNN and Fox debated whether his death would inspire more violence or more silence. The haunting question loomed. If death cannot unite us, what can? Because if America cannot agree on how to respond to tragedy, if one side mourns while the other mocks, then the country isn't just divided, it's broken at its core. In the end, Kirk's assassination wasn't just the story of one man's violent end. It became a mirror reflecting the fractures of a nation addicted to outrage, incapable of collective mourning, and locked in a cycle where every tragedy is fuel for the next cultural war. That may be the legacy he leaves, not as a martyr or a villain, but as a symbol of a country tearing itself apart.